to welcome with us Bharti Rajan Balawan, Rohan Vijay, and Prateek Kumar as our guests for the evening. By now, all of you who have joined us, you must be knowing the topic for the evening. It's a role of machine learning and data science in the drilling industry. So, when I talk of oil and gas industry, the commodity cycles, the challenges that are faced while planning the capitals, the increasing operational risks has made it necessary for all of us to, smarter, efficient decisions. So today I have renowned people with me, and we are going to discuss upon how artificial intelligence and machine learning can prove to be a valuable insight to oil and gas industry. So before that, before we proceed with the discussion, let me tell you who are our guests for the evening. I would request people to please switch themselves till I'm introducing the guests. After that, we'll proceed. Yeah. So my first guest is Bharti Rajan Balawan sir. Graduated from AMET, completed his master's from UPES Dehradun. He is currently working as a drilling performance engineer at Schlumberger, Abu Dhabi. Over the years, he has served as graduate trainee at Halliburton MWD Service, Taloja, Mumbai, field service engineer at Aramco Link South, Saudi Arabia, team leader, real-time support at Petrolink International, Abu Dhabi, and drilling performance engineer at Schlumberger, Abu Dhabi now. So we welcome you, sir. Next, we have Rohan Vijay, sir. Graduated from University of Pune, completed his master's in petroleum technology, who is an oil and gas industry professional with an experience of more than 10 years. Currently, he is serving as a drilling performance analyst at Schlumberger. Sir started his career with Norshot Drilling and Productions in coring operations in 2010. And then he has been associated with companies like Geo Services, Schlumberger, DNM as drilling data engineer, and advanced geological analyst, and in the same capacity with Geolog International BV across India, France, Africa, and Middle East. We welcome you, sir, as well. Yep. Next guest for the evening, and our last guest for the evening is Prateek Kumar. Prateek Kumar is a technical consultant for well construction and drilling analytics at Halliburton Ranma. He has experience in managing real-time and analytics project from designing phase to execution. His expertise also involves fostering the digital needs of organization, tailoring solutions for them, and expanding the vision of futuristic drilling digital solutions. He has a BTech in petroleum engineering from UPES Dehradun, and I really feel honored to have such knowledgeable people with me on this platform. And I look out to hear your experience, hear your knowledge in the sector, and I welcome thereby everybody to the podcast.
Thank you, Shivani.
Okay,
Thank you,
so I'd like to begin with Prateek sir. So Prateek sir, what are your, while sharing your experience and your takeaways from the journey so far, I'd like to begin with the very scope of the topic. How far do you think machine learning and data science has grown in the drilling industry?
Okay. Yeah. Before starting with the machine learning and data science growth, I'll first talk about the data. So if you see since the inception of our industry, oil and gas industry, the data is part of our industry. We have been taking data from instrumentation. There have been the reporting data. In fact, if you go out of drilling, we have the seismic exploration data, production data. So it's the part of our industry since the start. And since the mid 1980s to 1990s, you'll see that there was a growth in uh, physics-based algorithms, a lot of equation-based systems were made, applications were made, and to make our drilling easy, our exploration was to increase the exploration processes. So our industry has been closely knitted with data. Now coming to the part of machine learning and data science. So I would say that machine learning and data science is not that much, has not been that much in uh, acquired, has not taken that much place in our industry as it has taken place in other industries. Like if you see the aviation industry, they have the autopilot since decades. If you see the automotive industry, they are doing the driverless cars, and doctors are doing operations uh, with the robots, with the precision of robots. But for us, the similar thing would be the drilling, autonomous drilling, but we are not doing that. It's a distant dream for us. So I would say that we are lagging behind in that part, though we had data before, but we didn't use the machine learning. We didn't adopt it. Our companies didn't adopt the machine learning concept so soon. So, and the reason behind that is the data that we have right now is everything is in the databases, in the servers that is lying with the companies, and they didn't utilize it since the last 4 to 5 years, which I'm seeing that there has been discussions everywhere. People are talking about machine learning in our industry, and a lot of small ventures have come up who are working in machine learning and data sciences fields. And if you say big companies, they are collaborating with each other and investing a lot in this science, in data science, and and there has been a lot of advancements in last 5 to 6 years. I was going through the papers before this call, so I saw there are almost 300 SP papers which are written on just the ROP optimization. So with this stat, we can see that there has been a lot of awareness in our industry now regarding the machine learning. And but yes, there is a lot to go ahead because we still are very far from other industries from the autonomous drilling. So the target would be that. So yeah. Shivangi, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. Okay,
No
so as Pratik sir said, that these companies are still into the technologies, though a lot of awareness is there, a lot of discussions are there. So Rohan sir, I'd like to ask you, why are companies still resilient in adopting? Still they are not adopting to these technologies.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I'll just like to add a brief thing to what Pratik mentioned. I would just like to start with what data is basically. So as far as oil industry is concerned, first, basically data is actual information which is collected on a basis of reasoning, discussion, or calculation. So in case of, in our context specifically, data is the new oil. So it's valuable. If it is unrefined, it cannot be used. So to create a valuable entity that drives profitable activity, it has to be broken down, analyzed, and for it to have a value. And as far as data quality is concerned, there is a virtuous cycle of data quality management. It has two parts basically. That is data analysis or assessment that involves defining the data, then identifying and measuring the data, and then monitoring the data. And the second layer would be monitoring as well as improvement. That would involve designing, then implementing, and cleansing and enhancing the data. Now, coming back to our situation with data and data quality in the context of drilling and completions specifically. Well, see, oil and gas companies, they face the challenge of obtaining insight from an enormous amount of data to make better informed decisions. Now, to innovate exploration and production, you need to make sense of the operational data from, let's say, plant floor, supply chains, drilling rig, or even connected products. Now, by applying advanced analytics and artificial intelligence, oil and gas companies, they can identify the trends and predict events throughout processes to quickly respond to disruptions and to improve efficiencies. Now, to push capabilities even further, implementing automation and artificial intelligence, it would help oil and gas industry surpass human limitations to enable the type of decision making that keeps operations running at full speed and optimizes drilling and production. Now this very shift to digitization and use of big data in your organization, it can lead the field in shaping the next generation of oil and gas innovations. So the reason why they are not ready to implement, because there is not much. I would say it's this field is still advancing. It's still in the nascent stage, if you will. So there is so much to learn, so much to implement, and companies will have to take a stand. 37% of the companies in the world have actually taken this stand, and they are working on it. And since we will discuss this in a few minutes, the impact of COVID in our situation, this pandemic that has brought a mess and a havoc to the entire industry, not just oil and gas. You talk about any industry, it has created a havoc. So in such situation, artificial intelligence and machine learning would be the way to go. The whole idea about any industry, especially oil and gas, is three main things. First is reduce cost, improve productivity, and increase efficiency. Doesn't matter which field you work in, these 3 points will be the baseline for everything. So what I understand is companies will move towards this future. Artificial intelligence will be the future. Machine learning will help us to get there. Because if we see the market right now, the physical jobs that people used to do maybe 10 years ago, where you have to be on the field physically. Now these jobs are reducing, and everything is shifting towards office. So as far as this transformation is concerned, I think AI would be the way to go, and new technologies will emerge and companies will invest in this. Thank you.
Right. So, in addition to what Rohan sir just said, Bharti sir, I want you to tell the audience what is the meaning of digital oil field and what is the necessity of it, especially concerning the pandemic right now and the COVID crisis that has been affecting the industry in general.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are doing good. So yeah, the experts have already discussed about like how data has been very important for the oil field, and as well as AI, how it is going to improve the drilling optimization in the field. But as you said, digital oil field. So what digital oil field does is actually we are getting the data. So we have a lot of data, enormous data flowing through the industry. So, but how to utilize that and how to convert into the valuable asset to understand or understand the pattern, how we are drilling, or how can we improve the efficiency of drilling, how we can reduce the downtime of like non-productive time, as we said. So utilize the advanced technologies. So like AI or data science or ML, machine learning, everything. So these all together, we are trying to utilize these technologies to the oil field to improve our efficiency and optimize the drilling operation. So our major concern here is whatever in oil industry, we have to reduce the time and reduce the cost. So as soon as we drill a well within a particular time and we reduce the cost, because million cost has been involved in this operation, and a lot of people are involved in this operation. So to reduce this, we have to remotely approach these operations. So how to remotely approach these operations by utilizing those technologies, the applications. So that is what we call as digital oil field. So recently it has been improved like a lot. And before you already asked a question about like why we have not emerged. To answer that question, actually we have data collection and the equipment applications. These all improved recent years. So we don't have much data in hand to analyze. Input to give the input to machine learning, because we need a big data. So now we have capability of high-end computers, and we have a cloud-based memories to store data. So we have a trillion gigabytes of data to analyze and utilize to understand the operation, and we can come up with the solutions. So that's how it works. And majorly, as you asked, for this pandemic situation, we are tend to work remotely. We cannot go to the fields, and there are a lot of restrictions. And from actually the drilling engineers cannot travel from the town to the drilling sites to understand what is operation going on. They cannot go there and take a decision. So they are remotely monitoring each and everything, each and every operations, and they can advise. Even the geologists they can advise, and the reservoir engineers. So they can monitor all operations while drilling itself, and they can remotely support the operation to happen it. So we are saving the cost as well as time. So that's how it works.
Right.
So, on that note, I'll be taking this question in the chat box from Vinod Verghese. How is energy transition and net zero by 2050, etc., causing roadblocks to invest in new R&D and technologies in oil and gas exploration and production? Have companies been reluctant to adoption, seeing the challenges that are being faced ahead? So, any of the guests that wishes to answer the question?
Okay, to answer this question, actually, yeah, I mean, this question is like a futuristic forward, like how the oil industry going to be. As per our situation at the moment, we are at like very low stage, because you know what is happening through, like before around 2015 and 2014 around and all, we have a barrels which were selling at around $160 per barrel. So we are in the high position that time, and we were in the really peak, and the need of oil was very high, and the industry was booming very high, and they are tend to invest a lot of money in like how we can optimize, even to extract like hard crude, and like a lot of EOR techniques and all. They are trying to improve those to get more oil out of it, so they can invest there. They have option to invest there, but at current situation, it is very difficult, and the investment will be like very less. We can understand as the pandemic happens, all the industries are gone down, especially our oil industry. Even the dollar, I mean the barrels are went in the negative price. So we are struggling, but still world will not rotate without oil for sure. So the transportation is all over the world, so it will go on getting up, but it will take a little time. But moving forward, like they will get it for sure. They will try to improve. Actually, as Pratik mentioned in the earlier stage itself, we'll be I mean the small companies or small venture companies are just joining together to have advanced method technologies or coming to the picture in the major operating companies. So hopefully we'll be getting up, I mean, a good future ahead.
I would also like to add to Bharti's answer here.
Sure,
Firstly, World Energy Transition Outlooks outlines the global strategies towards carbon neutrality, and it leads the way to climate safe 1.5 degrees pathway by 2050. So that's the goal. So what does that mean for us in oil field who are working right now? So renewable power, green hydrogen, and modern bioenergy, they will dominate the world of energy in the future. But there is still a gap of almost 20 years where new technologies will be implemented. Yes, going green will be the way of the future, because as we all know, the first thing we learn in any class is the non-renewable resources are limited, and they are going to end one day. So the technical outlook for most of the countries where exploration hasn't happened due to geopolitical or some other reasons is that till 2050 there should not be there is no need for a worry. If we see in the last century, an American geologist called Hubert, it's called Hubert's oil curve. What that means is, during our lifetime, or those people, or the people who have demised or who are dead in the last century, even during their lifetime, the oil production will always go on decreasing. So the oil peak, the oil curve that we were thinking about, and in 1930s and 40s, where they could drill just with cable tool assemblies and they could still find oil and they could still struck gold. That technology is 100% better today, and it will go on improving, but the asset itself is not that much. It will go on reducing due to different reasons. So yes, till in my personal view, for next 20 to 30 years, we should not worry. Oil will be the future. I mean, at least near future. But yes, many countries and the environment, the geopolitical and the general environment, I would say, is shifting towards green, solar, and rest of the battery powered cars and all that. But they can never replace oil. There are 98 products that are, I mean, those products are basically byproducts of oil. So can you totally replace those products? No. The need will be there. Maybe the demand will be not as much as it used to be in the last century, but you can never replace oil completely, at least for next 30 years. That technology is not available. And as far as the companies investing in this in oil and gas field, especially with respect to digitization is concerned, well, it's a valid question, because any company runs, or any business runs for profit. Okay, it's all about profit. So if they find, if something is profitable, if I'm spending $10 and I'm getting at least 100 or 200, because when it comes to companies, the profit is in 100 or 200%. They don't think about 10 to 12, 10 and you get 20. It's not like that. So when they are considering that kind of margins, especially with their fiduciary nature and economic concerns, they will have to make a stand. But considering the flow of money, basically, and the way petroeconomics is going, I think for next 30 years, we should be okay. Yes, there will be some hassles, there will be some backlashes, but still for next 30 years, there shouldn't be a problem. And new inventions, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and maybe something even more that we haven't imagined at the moment will come into the picture, definitely. Thanks.
Okay, so I have two questions which are quite interrelated. I'll put both of them together. How can a recent petroleum graduate get into the ML and data science field? The roadmap, particularly a drilling engineer or a drilling engineer. And I'm working as a drilling supervisor at site. What I want to do to change my stream to come in data center and virtual drilling. Prateek sir, if you could take that question.
Yeah, sure. So if you, I'll take the second question first. If you are the drilling supervisor and you want to change your stream and come into the data center or want to deal with the computer and data, so for it you have a great chance, because the basic of drilling, you are well versed with it. Okay, and whatever we do in a data center or whatever we develop in using data, it needs people who know drilling and know the concepts of drilling. So you just have to start understanding the data. So the data is basically coming from the rig site. The data when we are talking about data in real time, it is the same hook load, same ROP which you are seeing at the rig site. So the thing that you need to develop is you need to find the objective of our data centers, what our objective is. And I'll tell you, our objective is to remove the inefficiencies, to decrease the ILT and reduce the NPTs. Okay. So, so you already know the drilling. So you just have to find the points where you can reduce the inefficiencies in the process, and you will be able to, and with the help of learning few softwares. So it's not a difficult thing to learn those softwares. You can easily get the access to those softwares online, and there are a lot of courses to do those things. Okay, so all the things that are needed are there with you. You just have to take a chance and try for the jobs for data center things. Okay, so, and for the first part also means, I think that was for the fresher, right, Shivangi? Yeah. So for that,
yes.
Yeah. So for that, you need to focus on the basics of drilling, since you have not worked in drilling domain, or you have not worked on rigs. So you need to learn the theory of drilling, what exactly drilling is. If you get a chance, try to get hands on the softwares that are already existing in the industry, like Landmark software. Landmark Suite is there. So you need to learn how those softwares have been built, what's the science behind it, And then you can easily get into data centers, be valuable in the data centers. And getting into data center is another thing. You can get into it by giving just the interviews, and you should be knowing the visualization tools. But adding values to a data center, adding value to the drilling is another thing. And you need to have an eye on finding the inefficiencies, on finding the ILTs that are happening at right or in the process. So yeah, these things are there.
Okay, Shivangi, I would also like to answer this question. I think Dinesh Shinde asked this question. He's B Petroleum and he's currently working as a DS at the site. So in general, though this should have been this question should have been asked at the end of the session, but no, not an issue. We will just tackle it right now. So as far as this particular job of real-time operations or performance engineering is concerned, I would say I would distribute it into three kinds of skills. First is your professional skill, second, the soft skills that are required, and third is your educational background. So let's first start with educational background. If you're an engineer, any kind of engineer would do. If you're a petroleum engineer or you have background in computer engineering, best option. That's category one. Second, if you have a geology background, let's say you're a pure petroleum geologist, petroleum technologist, or any kind of geoscience, even geoinformatics will do. It's a great advantage. Now, coming to the professional skills, since this Mr. Shinde is already an engineer in petroleum engineer and he is working as a drilling supervisor. So I would consider that this is the best possible scenario. If he is working as a drilling supervisor, he probably knows each and every operation that is happening on the rig, not just with drilling, maybe workover and other kind of operations as well. You name the operation and he must be a part of those operations. So this is a great scenario, I would say. After this, landing a job in any operation center should be a piece of cake. I'm hoping and I'm guessing at this point that Mr. Shinde has enough experience to make that transition. And my personal advice to anybody, not just somebody as experienced as Mr. Shinde, or any fresher joining this industry, and any not just for real-time purposes or operations, but any kind of job in oil industry, my sincere advice would be start in the field. Get some years of experience in the field, working in the field, at least 1 or 2 years, so that you understand the environment. Because once you are in the operations center, you are in the office environment. So the pressures are different. When you're working in the field, you're not just away from the home. You're working under pressure, you're working in shifts, and you're working in some godforsaken place in the middle of land or in the middle of ocean, away from everything. You have to adjust on your food habits. You have to adjust on your accommodation. You have to develop some travel habits. So the pressure is enormous. Once you feel, if you can adjust with a multinational crew, with English being your only language of communication, and then you can succeed there, you understand the culture, then when you make that transition into the office, it helps you a lot. It would be a piece of cake for you, literally piece of cake for you. But considering the volatility of the situation and the oil market in general, if you had to make the transition in the other way, it could cause a lot of problems. So as far as this situation is concerned, I would say there is a great chance for any drilling supervisor, if he wants to come into operations, it should be easy. Now, second point, talking about professional skills. So domain knowledge, absolute clarity of fundamentals is extremely necessary. Basic Microsoft Office skills are extremely important. If you can learn a language, if you're a computer engineer or any kind of computer science background, then it shouldn't be, technically it shouldn't be an issue. But SQL, C++, Java, it's a good knowledge to have. Then cloud solutions like Azure, then there is MongoDB, Cassandra, that would be extremely helpful. Basic networking skills, basic AI and machine learning concepts, that would be important. And there are many data analysis and data science courses available, even online and from reputed universities. One can actually look into that. Given the circumstances, it would be actually useful. And third part and most important is soft skills that are required not just for an operations or performance job or any type of real-time operations, but for oil industry in general. First would be patience. One has to be patient. You're working with a multicultural, multinational crew, and everybody has different ideas. And you have to make things work in a specific amount of time, because drilling operations or any oil industry operation is 24/7. They don't wait for anything. Second is perseverance. One has to be persevere. One has to be really strong mentally. And again, third, effective communication. You have to work on your language skills because unfortunately or fortunately, English is the only language of communication when it comes to oil field. It's the accepted language of communication, I would say. Next would be an eye for detail. If you are very good at finding problems and finding solutions for those problems, you would succeed in this industry. And if you're a fast learner, because one can learn for an entire lifetime, but given a specific amount of time, given a specific amount of technology, and given a specific amount of job, if you can learn that thing as fast as possible with the greatest promise of executing that job, it would be the best skill to have, not just for real time or operations or performance, any type of operation, for drilling engineer, for logging operators, for MWD, mud logging, drilling supervisor, anything. That's the basic thing about entire oil industry, in short. Thank you.
Well, that was a really practical as well as a knowledgeable answer, sir. I guess you just not answered this question. The learned a lot from that answer. So, since you're discussing of softwares, sir just said one statement about softwares having knowledge. So, Bharti sir, I would like you to tell us that any company software overviews of Schlumberger that you would like to discuss with us.
Sorry, can you repeat it? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying that any company softwares and product overviews of Schlumberger that you would like to put forward with us and from that.
Yeah, of course, because Schlumberger recently for the real-time side, Schlumberger, we have a section called SIS, so where the real-time operations and the real-time analytics, everything taking part. So Schlumberger recently emerged with a lot of new technologies and cloud-based solutions, which can improve the drilling optimization. So to be exact, we have an application called Delphi, which includes everything. This is it's an integrated solution where we can remotely access the well, what they are doing at the rig site and how the performance can be improved. And we can monitor each and every parameters in real time. And we can do a lot of analysis like hydraulics, like ACD calculations, like MSC calculations. So there are many even torque and drag calculations. So these are like very important for the drilling engineer to understand how the well behaves while drilling, so that he can right away take a decision and make sure the well is not affected with any other anomalies or issues, so that we save the cost and we prevent it before it happens. So majorly in oil field, we know the major issues are stuck, and due to that, we lost a lot of time, we lost a lot of hours, and like a lot of money involved in that. So we have to remove the stuck again, and we have to start with a sidetrack. So it involves a lot of time and money. To avoid these all, we have a lot of applications in market, and majorly with a Schlumberger, from the data collection point till we reach optimization or analytics, we have each and every part, we have a softwares. And that's what, if you could search out in the Schlumberger website, the Delphi is the name. So everything is there. And majorly to quickly I'll tell, we have application called Intract, which is majorly to visualize the data from the rig site. And we have application called a Rigor dashboard, which is each and every hours counts to us. We analyze the performance. We have the KPI indicators, KPIs, just key performance indicators, which we can understand the statistics and how we have performed earlier with the historical data, and how we can perform like futuristic. So these are there. And then drilling interpretation, which is DI, it's a part of a Delphi, which is a very vast and important tool, which includes every corner of the drilling operation. Like majorly, we have drilling optimization, as well as we have a reservoir engineering modeling and geological simulations, and everything together integrated. And it is a cloud-based system. So it is very supportive, and it is really a nice tool for the drilling engineer, geologist, reservoir engineer in office, and they can sit and they can understand what is exactly going on the wellbore, and they can pick up the solutions analyzing with these tools. So that's the important tools what we have in Schlumberger.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
indeed.
Yeah.
I would just like to add to what Bharti has said. Bharti has
Yes, sir.
already mentioned everything. I would just like to add briefly into that. Delphi in itself is a secure cloud-based environment. Okay, so the Delphi is cognitive ENP environment. It is secure, again, cloud-based, space-built on key promises that it's a unique software portfolio in a sense. So it would harness the data. It will with scientific knowledge and domain expertise to fundamentally change the way of working in every part of ENP value chain. So the Delphi environment makes applications and workflows accessible to all users and enables team members to build common workspace for data, models, and interpretation while respecting proprietary informational boundaries. So for example, if a client needs something, let's say under this software portfolio for drilling, we have RigHour, DrillOps, or DrillPlan. Under production, the Schlumberger flagship software, Petrel, and other allied services. But it can be modified according to the user's need. Let's say there are 1,400 applications under Petrel, but a particular engineer or a particular geologist or a reservoir professional needs some particular part of it. He doesn't need all those the rest of the software. So what we will need, what we will do is we will enhance or we will create the portfolio in such a way that it meets the user's need. It is basically like the mobile data plans we have. You want somebody likes to surf on the internet, he will get more internet. Somebody likes to have likes to call a lot, so he will get more minutes. It is according to your need. So as far as the performance in question, as Bharti rightly mentioned, RigHour. So what happens is RigHour is basically a drilling operation efficiency analysis software which delivers an accurate understanding of drilling operation performance across single or multiple wells. So it does that by computing and comparing different drilling specific KPIs. KPI is key performance indicator. Now, drilling organizations can instantly see the aggregated amount of NPT, that is non-productive time, as well as invisible loss time, that is ILT, which is incurred on their project and across the entire rig fleet maybe. So they can also filter by specific well construction phase to analyze the performance and identify potential improvement areas. So as far as this application is concerned, the application's main applications are operational efficiency analysis across the entire well construction activity, then identifying the benchmark and to set improvement targets, and to communicate actual drilling performance to the rig crew for continuous improvement practice. For this, we have dashboards and we can directly communicate. We obviously communicate with the drilling engineers, but nowadays, someone as good as Bharti, he actually has meetings with drilling supervisors directly on the rig, and he can tell them that this is happening and this is happening. So it's that good basically. And the features are good. The benefits are improved operational efficiency. We can identify and quantify the areas of potential time saving on drilling operations. Then consistent measurement and reporting of improvements across drilling rigs and crew. So basically target operational performance versus target versus technical limit. That's basically the software employs. That's it.
Pratik sir, if you would like to answer the same question with respect to Halliburton, the company softwares, we'd also like to know. Sir, you're on mute. Could you please unmute?
Sorry. So
Yeah.
since we are talking of real time, so I'll stick to the real time because there are many products and landmarks like doing everything in drilling. So related to real time, we have our legacy application, which is called Insight, which is being in place with almost 95% of the operators globally. So that's in place and it has all the features that are there, like generating the KPIs, having the visualizations, measuring ILT, NPT. So, and I wouldn't hesitate to say that these all things are there in every software right now. If you pick any company and they have these features, and these KPIs are now the everyday thing. We have to move ahead of these KPIs. So the new thing that Landmark is working on and there is an approach to there is a different approach that Landmark is having now is the co-innovation. So what we are doing is we are co-innovating with the operators, different operators. We sit with them. We understand their operations. We understand their workflows, how they work, and then we tailor a solution which best suits them. Now that includes the real time as well, the well planning as well, and the other operational needs that they have. So it's like reporting or any if they want alerts. So all those things will be tailored in one solution. So there is a out-of-box solution which is DWO, Digital Well Operation. I can share a link later to everyone to have a view because it is what the future is of drilling. Okay, so what we do is the real time is just a small part of this big solution of DWO. What in DWO, what is being done is it is integrated with the well planning application which we have in our Landmark. Okay, so all the well planning data is there with you. Okay, now when the operations have started, it will match up. The drillers and the people at rig will know what the plan is. They will be following the plan. In case they deviate from the plan, there will be changes in the operation. So the messages will be sent back to the planning software. It will again recalculate the things and give the updated plan. So it's the live plan which is working with the well planning and the operation. So we are like removing the silos between teams and integrating the whole company as one and bringing one solution for every need. So where comes the real time? So it's a very small component, but it's there. We are utilizing the machine learning, the data engineering part. So there are alerts for anti-collision if you are drilling nearby. So it will give you, if it will is integrated with the Compass, you all must be knowing the Compass software. So it is utilizing the calculations of those softwares and giving us the alerts. It is using machine learning as well for early kick detection. There is a machine learning model for identifying any like mud losses, any problems in basically any inefficiencies that particular company is having. We co-innovate with them, we build solutions for them, and this is the one whole solution. So the whole life cycle of a well is covered under one solution, which is DWO. So yeah.
Great. So now we discussed about company softwares and we discussed about the products. When somebody is entering into the field, into this operations and all, be it experienced, be it a fresher, there needs to be certain training programs one should get versed with. So, which training programs can one get and from where? Online, like offline is not possible right now in the pandemic scenario, but online one should go for which training programs? Anybody from the guests would like to answer?
Yeah. So if you are talking about the proprietary softwares of like Landmark have their own suite, so you need to wait for we have trainings in colleges, or if there is any event or any fest in the colleges, we do go there and give trainings to. So you might need to enroll yourself there, and you need to take you need to look out for those events wherever the Halliburton is giving the trainings, and you should grab those chances. Otherwise, these trainings are pretty costly, and no one individually is not going to take those trainings until and unless the operator or the companies are going to bear the cost of it. So once you enter a company, I'll suggest all the freshers, if they enter any oil and gas companies, look out for the trainings whenever those trainings are happening in your company. Try to get involved in those trainings, because in those trainings, not just the application is told, you will understand the drilling as well. How the drilling, you will get clarification of drilling concepts. You will know the science, what exactly happens in the drilling. And the second part, there are open source applications as well, like not exactly open source, but you will get a lot of data and trial versions for those software. So you can learn Power BI, Spotfire, Angular. All these things are visualization tools, and also the development part, which is being done in digitalizing the products. So these are the things that you should be knowing, and it is a add-on to what your drilling knowledge is. So if you know the data administration, you know how to wrangle with data, how to use SQL, Cassandra, all the databases. It's not just one database which is being used. So you should be knowing everything about the data. You should be knowing the visualizations as well as the drilling applications. And for drilling applications, you need to look out for the trainings in the colleges. Yeah.
So since we are discussing about training programs, that brings me to tell the audience as well that we at Advantage India are working on a digital platform. We are developing a training module for oil and gas students and professionals. So one can come and learn data analytics from the scratch. And we have both basic and application-based modules. So, you can learn data analytics, machine learning in reservoir, petrophysics, geoscience, production, and as well as well and downstream. So we have two options there. Either you can interact with the faculty on an individual basis as per the availability of the faculty, or you can come in a group of 5. So if you want to go ahead, you can reach out to us for details. Now, forward. I missed one question, I guess, from the chat box, and I got it directly. What are developments happening till date that have happened till date in AI and robotics in oil and gas? So, anybody who wants to take this question, I missed it actually. It was the very first question.
Okay, I'll take it. So there has been a not as me. I started my conversation with the same things that we are lagging behind in adapting these technologies in machine learning and data engineering. So there is a lot to be done in this field. What we will be aiming as an industry in drilling is we should have the autonomous drilling, that no one is there on the rig and everything is being handled from the base, and we are able to successfully and safely drill those wells. So there is a huge road. There is a long journey that we have to travel for it. And since and the work on machine learning and data engineering has been started in our industry since 5 to 6 years, means aggressively, if I say that companies are investing and the other small companies are coming up and doing the work for us. So so to your question, there is a we have developed some. There are very less things that have been developed. There are a few alerts that different companies are working on. So they have developed the shifting from the algorithmic alerts to the data engineering alerts. So we are utilizing that data in that way, but still a lot of things needs to be done in future. And yeah, so right now we are not that way ahead that we need to be.
I would just like to add a little bit to what Pratik just mentioned. I would just like to discuss about two main things when it comes to AI and its growing importance in oil and gas industry in general. So see, the oil and gas industry itself faces many challenges in its operational processes, which is ranging from unconnected environments to frequent downtimes, maintenance issues for its various machines. So in comparison to other sectors, oil and gas has made fewer investments in incorporating artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies in its processes. So, however, oil and gas companies have started on the path of AI after witnessing how the technology has helped to cut operational costs and enhance efficiencies across various industries. So what happens is AI is in itself a diverse field, but within oil and gas industry, there are two primary applications of this technology: machine learning and data science. So machine learning is transforming the way in which oil and gas is discovered and developed, allowing companies to gather large volumes of information in real time and translate that data sets into actionable insight, I would say. For example, the offshore oil and gas industry, they can use AI in data science to make a complex data user for oil and gas exploration and production more accessible, and which allows company to discover new exploration opportunities or make use out of the existing infrastructures. So now what is the current scenario? So oil and gas companies, basically they are using AI alongside existing digital infrastructure to increase efficiency of production and exploration activities, etc. So using machine learning and predictive analysis is helping the industry insiders improve operations, basically. And it can cut costs. Basically, the projection, this was before COVID hit, up to $50 billion in upstream oil and gas activities alone. Now, let's take the scenario, what happened in the world before COVID hit in 2019 and 2020. In November 2019, Microsoft, they formed a strategic partnership with oil and gas companies like Baker Hughes and AI developer C3. So this AI is to bring enterprise AI technology to energy industry via its Azure cloud computing platform. So this is one investment. Similarly, in January 2019, BP invested almost $5 million in a Houston-based technology startup called Belmont Technology. And they created a platform called Sandy. So even 2 years before COVID hit, the way forward was clear for most of the oil industry companies. Similarly, even before that, in I think February 2018, 3 years ago, ExxonMobil actually announced plans to have AI robots designed with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the premier institute maybe in the world as far as engineering is concerned. So, and it would help them to detect oil seeps in offshore wells, in deep offshore wells. So basically AI systems, it can automate and optimize the initial stages of exploration and production life cycle, including seismology, let's say geology, drilling, petrophysics, reservoir, and production. So they have the potential to reduce the risks and enhance productivity. So precise targeting and the ability to identify this drilling locations, it can help to maximize ROI, that is return on investment, on any drilling activity. So the demand for artificial intelligence in the upstream oil and gas market I would say, was set to grow for next 5 years. That was till 2022, 2023, before COVID hit us. The expansion rate was around 12% to reach 2.8 billion, around 2.8 billion or 3 billion by 2022. That was the projected analysis. That was obviously before COVID hit. Now, as far as current, considering current scenario, and if we look at the future from this new reality that we have, I would say going forward, the impact of machine learning and artificial intelligence is already recognized and realized by the industry officials. And field workers are also, always connected by the mobile devices. They have infiltrated our daily lives in a sense, I would say. So by integrating these technologies, the oil field is primed for a connectivity revolution, and AI is basically the smart icing on the data cake, I would say, to finish it off. So this is where we are headed. Yes, it's a fact that due to COVID, many the plans were in a disarray. It also due to another reason that the deal between OPEC and Russia, it fell out. So it cost they agreed to cut their combined output by almost 9.7 million barrels per day. So this caused last year in May and June, the agreed baseline was a bit shaky and faulty. So what now? What are the paradigm changes that we are expecting? So basically, right now, considering our current reality, the depth and duration of this crisis is uncertain, and industry basically suffered the third collapse in last 12 years. So the transition will be a fundamental change, I would say, in restructuring. Then paradigm change requires deep dig into the technology. It would be really important, and maybe there would be reposition of portfolios and other significant terms. So industry will go through change and is actually going through change right now. There will be restructuring and there will be new ideas on the table. We will have to see how we move forward with it. Thank you.
So before this, when I was discussing with Rohan sir, he pointed out how important is soft skills. You need to have a diverse skill set. And in that, one major role soft skills also plays, as Rohan sir pointed out in the previous discussion. So, Bharti sir, for any fresher who's, joining, or even anybody who's joining. Technical के लिए we have programs, as we discussed about training programs. What should one do to enhance upon the soft skills and diverse and add to the skill set for anyone into the oil and gas sector?
Okay, for related to oil and gas sector, mostly what we need to understand is it's all about the common sense. Like we are just going through. Let's say I'll put you in a small story. Like humans are the most intelligent species in the world. We know. Okay, and machines are introduced by humans, but machines can work 24/7, but humans cannot. So that is the reason what we are trying to do is we are trying to push our human intelligence to the machines, and we make him to work like 24/7 and 365 days. Every day it can work. So that much we are trying to improve our like technologies and artificial intelligence and ML and all. So by seeing the soft skill side, we have to understand, even in oil industry majorly, if they are into the like how this exploration and how this oil well drilling is all happening, they have to understand the basics. They have to understand the basics. They have to these kind of these kind of even sessions are most knowledgeable sessions. They can improve these all understanding the experts. They can explain things very clearly. They can understand from these kind of sessions. So this is how we improve. It's not like kind of particular soft skills we can go for a training like personal development or something like that. It comes with the experience. We just start our work and it comes with experience. And oil and gas mostly without experience cannot shine here, because each and everything what we are doing, actually we are drilling into a unknown place and we are trying to reach unknown reservoir to get an oil out of it. So everything is blind to us, but we are with available data, we are trying to analyze things, and we are trying to reach out our reserves, which is bottom of the earth. So for this, it's all about the common sense. We have to improve our like analytical skills, and we have to go through experienced people, how they have been worked with a different streams, and they can get advice from them. And that's how we improve. And we cannot go as a particular training in our industry to improve our soft skills or something.
Okay, Pradeep sir, Rohan sir, would you like to add anything to this?
Yes, I would just like to add one thing, especially considering the current scenario. Why do we need artificial intelligence and machine learning in this COVID era? So, see, the way I see it is tech themes such as robotics, industrial internet, artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, cybersecurity even, this will be of paramount importance as the industry looks to become more efficient. Now, oil and gas companies are likely to take a varied approach concerning different tech themes here, depending upon the immediate requirements. Cloud computing and cybersecurity themes will come to the fore with the post-pandemic new normal of remote working. So AI technologies can play a key part in this transformation of the value chain of oil and gas industry. And I personally believe AI has the potential to address the oil and gas industry's core talent challenges in three ways. First, by making existing oil and gas operations more efficient, so less resources are needed to maintain them. Second, by codifying some of the knowledge of retiring engineers into virtual agents. And thirdly, by making the industry more attractive to younger hires. It can be done, one, by reducing the impact of brain drain. Before more workers retire, it's vital to capture their institutional knowledge to retain key insights and experience. So AI and advanced technologies can be used to preserve the expertise of retiring generations in ways that can actually increase its impact. And second, by making the industry more attractive to new hires. So part of the solution goes hand in hand with first by automating lots of dirty on the ground work that industry is known for, and it can help create less dangerous, less environmentally impactful, and more attractive workplace basically. So as many as 70% of the millennials, they believe jobs in oil and gas are physically demanding, and this is a potential barrier to entry that AI actually can help to lower by reducing this hands-on part of the business. So this will be an attractive field for fresh graduates and the fresh engineers of any sort of any background, or even anybody from geology background. If they don't want to get their hand dirty per se, they can just join the industry and use their talent and knowledge, because there is a talent crisis actually. But post-pandemic reality is a bit different. But still, in few years, when everything goes back to track and back to normal, there will be a brain drain, obviously.
Prateek sir, if you would want to add something, I'm just coming to the end of the session.
Yeah, I would say that for the for the freshers, it's a bit more challenging for them to enter the digital industry of oil and gas now, because earlier when we were entering, as means when drilling engineers used to enter, so they just need to learn the drilling. Okay, so then after entering into the companies, they used to learn the applications and they were drilling engineers. Fine. The RTOC was different. So there were different people who were doing the development part, doing the handling the RTOCs. But now what companies expect from the new people who are coming into the industry, who are joining the digital phase of oil and gas, that they should be knowing drilling, they should be knowing the applications, and they should be knowing the development part also. They should be knowing the visualizations, and they should know how to use these tools. This is very like common thing to know Power BI now. So it's a bit more challenging, and they need to learn more and be more competitive now to enter into the companies and showcase their capabilities. And the last thing, and that will be a repetitive thing, that you can learn all these things after you are working in drilling industry for 1 or 2 3 years. You will know about drilling and know about these digital tools. But the most important thing is the innovation. You should always innovatively think about the inefficiencies that are present in your company or in the drilling, and try to remove those. So if you learn to be innovative, how to remove those inefficiencies, you will be a successful data engineer or a data scientist or a good drilling engineer in these days. So yeah.
I guess for the audience that has been very interactive on the session, our guests have again and again pondered over how you can, improve on your skills, what all is required. And I guess this has been the most knowledgeable sessions that I've ever attended, to be very honest. And anything that any of the guests would like to add, I would conclude the session, because I think the audience has already asked the questions. So, any of the guests to sum up the session, or I should just end up with it?
Shivangi, your voice is
am
not
I
clear.
audible?
Shivangi, your voice is not clear. It's breaking.
Okay, let me check. Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, I was just saying that since I'm concluding the session, I'm going towards the end of the session. Anything that any of the guests would like to add? You've already pondered over the skill set that one needs to have. You've already told us a lot, given us a lot of knowledge, but anything else that you would like to say before we conclude this session to the audience that's present?
Yeah. So I think we have covered almost everything related to technical discussion we had today, and it was a good discussion. And I would ask everyone, since we are concluding, I'll ask everyone to be safe at their homes and follow the Corona guidelines that we have, and just be in good health, and just be ready for the industry, and we will be happy to welcome you for the freshers.
Thank you, sir. Rohan, sir, a concluding statement from your end?
Like Pratik said, everyone watching this podcast and everyone who will watch this podcast in future, I will ask them to follow the COVID safety guidelines and maintain some distance from others, and if possible, get vaccinated as soon as possible. Don't get into the hype of there are many theories going on at the moment that something can happen. Be protected. Maybe it's not for entirety, but it's better to have something. So basically what I would like to say to sum everything up, first I would like to give a hopeful message to everyone that everyone watching this and all the freshers, engineers who will be passing out and fellow geologists, that this will end. Every pandemic eventually ends. So these are testing times and we have to show our mettle in such testing times. So there is no need to worry. Yes, the situation is tense in almost every section of the society and every section of industry, not just oil and gas, but you name it, every industry is having an issue. So technically this year has been marked with reflection and change. Some days feel good, others feel strange, but I mean, we have learned to work differently and we try to tune out the stress, but sometimes it feels like a mess in a way. So I would say, uh, although the story has not yet been written, good wins in the end. And I hope my best wishes for all of your families and friends. And I hope everybody will come out of this pandemic victorious and in good health and securing a good position in any industry they want to join. That's it. Blessings to all. Thank you.
Bharti, sir, anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you guys for giving us an opportunity to express ourselves about the drilling knowledge, what we have about the real-time operations and things. It was very like knowledgeable sessions, and I got a lot of information from our colleagues. Guys are trying nicely explain things that is really good. So just would like to highlight here is actually whenever the bad time comes, whenever the critical situation comes, we boost up. We find the new solutions. Okay, so this is the exact time where we need to boost up, and we are finding out the new technologies. So that we are not suffering by this kind of pandemic or any situations are affecting the industry. So don't worry guys, we are just in a situation now where we have to boost up. So everything will be fine. So we hopefully will be more into the technologies, and we will be booming, shining very nicely soon. So all the best guys.
Okay, thank you. I'd again like to extend my gratitude to every guest. Trust me, this was a very knowledgeable and an interactive session. Thank you for giving us your time. And yeah, as per in the chat box, we all can connect on LinkedIn, and you can anytime see this podcast on YouTube, the recorded video. And with that, I'd like to conclude the session. Thanks for attending to all the audience, and yeah, everybody, please and please follow the guidelines. And with this, we hope the technology sees a new time post COVID, and we progress. So this is the time to boost up, as rightly said, and we sure will. So thank you, Pratik sir, Rohan sir, Bharti sir. Thanks to everybody who joined the session. It was a really fruitful one. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Shivangi, and thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks to you, Shivani. Yeah. Bye.